So today we had our weekly Warriors Den live stream, and as you all know by now, there's been a lot riding on this on Ubisoft's part since balance has been such a big topic these past couple of weeks. So last week they told us that we'd be talking about more balance and going over the state of balance while comparing it to Setmix's tier list, and they did that. So they talked about a whole lot, but I'll only be talking about what I found most important. So as I did last week, I'll start off by talking about what I found most interesting and work my way down. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about, and the first thing that Ubi talked about today, is regarding the Wulin heroes. We finally heard Ubi's take on the Wulin.
This is an interesting question. I think mostly they're doing pretty good. Data-wise, Shaolin, Tiandi, and Nuxia are sitting around 54% win rate in Platinum Plus duels. So not too bad. At the high end of the grouping, data-wise, so strong, but not too strong. And I think they will descend over time as people learn to use them a little more than the first couple weeks. Early data, so from that side. Jiang Jun is interesting because he's sitting too high right now in our data. He's sitting at 61%. Or sorry, 62%, so just above that whole curve. And what's interesting there is the tier lists that they have. He's the only Wulin that is in B tier. The others are all sitting in A tier. So there's definitely that discrepancy there between like how is he in our data, how is he perceived at top level play. I understand too, in regular play, it's difficult to parry him, for example. There's some animations that have some problems of like, he hits you here, but it seems like he should hit you here. So there's a lot of times I think people are like, I parried it, or I should have parried it. Right. And it does seem that way. So that's a bug that we're fixing.
So all the Wulin heroes are obviously doing well, according to the data and all of us. But Jiang Jun is the one giving most people trouble, as he has the highest win rate out of all the Wulin heroes at 62%. This differs with Jiang Jun's placement on the tier list, which is just above Lawbringer and below Nobushi at the very bottom of B tier. This really shows the differences between how the competitive players view a hero versus how the casual players do. I think that Ubi will eventually nerf Jiang Jun's damage in one way or another, but this will just make him weaker in a competitive setting, so they'll probably need to do something about his forward dodge heavy mix-up, if you want to call it that, and somehow address how backdashing can beat out his feint and guard break. In this case, like I talked about a couple days ago, no matter what they do, people will be unhappy. I'd personally be totally happy if they just dropped his damage a bit, worked on his indicators like they said they're doing, and work on his forward dodge. I think it's agreed upon by now by most people that he just does too much damage for the way he moves around. As for the other Wulin heroes, them sitting at around 54% is fine. I've said it a few times before. I don't think the Wulin heroes are OP at all, and I get a lot of heat for saying that, but I think it's true. Ubi did say that they're going to keep an eye on both Shaolin and Jiang Jun's damage output to see if they need to be pulled down a bit, but that probably won't happen anytime soon. Now, Nuxia on the other hand may be having her trap worked on, so in short, it sounds like they want her trap to be less reactable and be more of a mind game, where Nuxia's opponent will have to predict when the trap is coming. Of course, this will come with a pretty hefty damage nerf because no one likes guessing wrong and eating 30 plus damage for it. Look at how Kick Toss and the community reacted to that. 40 damage is just a lot to take for guessing wrong, so it's better to just roll away if you have stamina and get away from that mess. I am surprised they didn't say anything about Tiandi though. They didn't mention his unlocked lights. They unfortunately didn't say anything about his dodge attacks, which just don't do anything. You get hit more using them than any other dodge attack, it seems like. I also would have liked to hear a little more about Shaolin, but maybe they're saving that stuff for another show. As for Nuxia and predicting the trap rather than reacting to it, I'm not too sure how that'll play out, but I'm hoping that whatever Ubi does with it doesn't make it feel either worthless or too cheesy. Next, they sorta hinted at Shigoki's change, but for me, it just brought in more questions. They sort of mentioned how Shugo players will not be unhappy for much longer with the way they attack. And they also mentioned that Centurion could be getting the same sort of buffs that Shugo gets after Season 9. My only guess is that they've got something interesting coming when it comes to Shugo's light attacks not bouncing on block. I guess we'll see in a couple months here when the next season shows up, because honestly I doubt that we'll hear anything else until then. I do want to sort of talk about the win matrix for Season 7. So they took players from Platinum and above, which, I mean, personally, I don't think is a good idea for two reasons. One, Platinum rank is just a little too low. I feel that maybe they should have chose Diamond 5 and above. And two, no one really cares for ranked. I mean, I get it, but they were talking about how they want more people to play ranked and all, but there's really no reason to play ranked in the first place. It's a letdown. It's not fun to play, and it still takes too long to find a match. Anyways, on the win matrix, we can see the win percentages for heroes from Platinum and above players. Conk is unsurprisingly at number 1, but at number 2 is Valkyrie. Again, I got a lot of heat when I said that I thought Valkyrie isn't that great of a hero, and now people are just going to use this against me. I still don't think Valk is that good against players who can defend themselves really well, but she can really beat up on some casual players or people who just aren't taking the game too seriously. But again, this is ranked, so people are taking the matches a little more seriously, I assume. I mean, admittedly, her full block is really good against bashes, but on offense, she relies on her bash and lights, and if people can counter that, then the Valk has to turtle up. Her heavies are weak, her sweep is punishable, she can't rely on her zone to poke, option select, or get free damage. I'm just really hoping that Yubi doesn't plan on nerfing her because of this data. The other thing that stands out to me is that Aramusha is in 4th place. That is really crazy to me. You see that he beats up on heroes with reflex guards, but 4th place is really high up. And one more thing is that Warden had a 22% pick rate in ranked duels. That's a little under a quarter of all players using Warden in ranked. I was not playing around when I told you guys that ranked is filled with Wardens, for good reason. I mean, Warden's always been one of the most popular heroes in For Honor, next to Orochi. Plus, Warden got his rework, which made his shoulder bash insane. It made it really good, making him really easy to rack up wins with. We see that Warlord is at the very bottom in the win matrix, but S tier on the tier list, and this is obviously because of the crash and charge mix-up, which Yubi said they're working on since no one wants to play the game while unlocked, and no one wants to be on the receiving end of it. Also, it's just really ugly to look at. And again, Yubi does mention PK is not doing well in their eyes, and they plan on working on her a little more as well. In the stream, Yubi also mentions Raider briefly, and the way they talked about it sort of gave me no hope for his immediate future. They talk about how his chains are weak and how they don't have much use, but he has high utility in Breach, which is true. Raider is pretty good in Breach. They also talk about how at the very least they want every hero to have some sort of utility in a game mode, and for Raider it's obviously Breach, but that is basically all they had to say when talking about Raider. It was sort of disappointing. It sounds like they don't really have any plans for the near future for Raider, which I mean is sort of expected, so Raider mains will just have to wait their turn, I guess. I really wanted to pick up Raider again because he's fun to play and I love his executions, but I guess I'll just continue to wait. Now I want to talk about Shaman. So Shaman's Predator Mercy is being nerfed, but not in the way you're expecting. Yubi doesn't want the bite to be a one-hit kill in team fights anymore. And when I say that, I mean Shaman would get a bite and the rest of the team would just hit the opponent while they're caught in the animation. So it sounds like they're going to change the way it works so that after the opponent gets hit once during the bite, they'll be able to react to the other incoming attacks. They're going to start off with Shaman and plan on branching out to other attacks that work the same way, like Shigoki's Hug. Shigoki's only real use is having his hug guarantee kills, you know? So if Shugoki saw someone get guard broken or wall splatted, then he got a free Demon's Embrace, literally guaranteeing a kill for a team. After that, they'll look at moves like Lawbringer's Flip and whatnot, so that crowd control moves that strip away a player's control aren't so annoying anymore. They hope that in doing this, we'll see more various team compositions in 4, since Shaman is really valuable because of her bite, and we can expect to see this change in the next update. Yubi also talked about test servers for a little bit. For a while now, we've been torching Yubi for not taking advantage of the test servers because, I mean, on paper they're perfect. We could just test things out coming to the game and give Yubi direct feedback before the changes go live. This also would allow Yubi to try out some really interesting things with the game that they can't just necessarily throw right out into, you know, the live version of the game. They said that there's a lot of active talks right now regarding the use of test servers, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll find out if we'll be seeing the test server used more. As I said, they talked about quite a bit this week and were a lot more specific. I mean, I like the stream, but feel it may be the last time we see something like this, at least to this extent. Honestly, I'd like to see shows like this maybe once every 3 weeks or once every month. A whole show dedicated to just talking about the fighting, since I mean that's literally what the game is all about. Some answers were straight to the point, others were pretty vague, but this week Stefan sounded a little bit more prepared. I do like that they compared the win matrix to the tier list. I would have liked to see them talk about it a little more, but I mean, at least they brought it up. I really feel that maybe next time they show us a win matrix though, we should get one like they showed us today, a really broad one with a lot of data, and then another with just masters and grandmasters data, since they generally have a much better understanding of the game. That is, when the game doesn't glitch out and just give random people masters rank. I think that in doing that, we'll see much different lists. We won't have heroes like Valken or Musha up so high. Overall though, I mean, this stream did answer more questions, so we can't be mad at that. And honestly, they can't answer everything in one show, so I just really hope that we don't have to wait too long to see all these changes that they talk about. I know that Season 9 is quite a ways away, but honestly, I'm just hoping for one significant change before then. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. I was looking forward to this stream, and I sort of got what I came for, but I do want to hear from you guys, so talk to me down in the comments about anything I talked about in this video. I honestly really want to hear you guys' opinion on the Wulin segment though, because I found that to be the most interesting. And as usual, if you agree with me or just like the video, feel free to leave a like and stuff if you're new, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.